So we wanted to start today's episode off by talking a little bit about Good Will Hunting. Jordan and I have a unique relationship where I live above where I work, where we record. And so every morning when we meet to record, when Jordan's in town, he always texts me and comes up and like knocks on the door basically. And Jordan has black hair, you know, he's a good looking guy, so he comes off very Ben Affleck-y.
I think his name's Tommy in the movie.
His name, I don't know.
I think it's Tommy.
I don't know. We should have done our homework on this.
Yeah.
But, so we got into a little bit of argument this morning because I wanted to be William.
AKA
Hunting,
Matt Damon.
AKA Matt Damon, but Jordan didn't like that. So, if you wouldn't mind dropping in the comments whether you think I would be Will or Jordan would be Will or I would be the Ben Affleck character or Jordan would be, we would really appreciate that.
Yeah, because we both clearly don't want to be Ben Affleck. Nothing against Ben.
Nothing against him.
He's a hot guy, you know. He's good looking. He's Batman, for goodness sake.
He's also a great friend.
He is.
He brings
a great friend.
something Jordan doesn't do, but I'm hoping he will do eventually. Is, you know, Ben walks up to the door with 2 coffees in hand every morning.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a nice touch. It's a nice touch.
Either way, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Good Will Hunting, it will probably change your whole perspective on life.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, it's great stuff, guys.
It's gonna make you want to walk by some whiteboards in some college campuses.
Seth, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about boundaries. Boundaries and what kind of role they need to play in your life, in your business, in your relationships as an entrepreneur.
Slash small business startup.
Slash
adventurer.
entrepreneur.
Slash entrepreneur.
Slash side hustler.
Slash pathless traveler.
Can you guys tell Jordan's been traveling and he's not quite on his A game?
Yeah, I've been traveling like crazy, y'all.
The dude looks tired.
Just got back from Iowa.
He's not witty. I feel like I'm carrying this episode on my. I'm carrying Jordan on my back. Drink up. Drink that mud.
Boundaries, though.
Boundaries.
The plural form. Boundaries, not boundary. We're talking about boundaries, people. In what context? Seth, what context are we talking about boundaries?
So, Jordan is really good at setting boundaries. And I am not so great at it, though I'm starting to realize the importance of it. Here's the thing about boundaries. When you're starting off in your entrepreneurial journey, you're gonna be saying yes to everything. You're gonna be saying yes to every coffee meeting, every meeting. You're gonna wanna go to all these like demo day for Startup Entrepreneur Week. You're gonna like want to go to everything because everything's a potential door. It's a potential person you're gonna meet. It's a potential opportunity. It's a potential new customer. And I think that the longer, it just is it's already so challenging and physically demanding to start your own business that if you're adding all these extra meetings and extra opportunities and like extra coffee dates on top of that, it's eventually gonna start detracting from the progress you're making in your business. It's gonna feel like you're being super productive and you're doing everything you need to do, but it's gonna start wearing you down and it's gonna start pulling you away from actually pushing your business forward.
Yeah. You gotta work your butt off, but don't do it all the time. You have to have rules that can allow yourself to not feel bad about not working. For example, Sundays. There's a reason why people take Sundays off. Like, just if you decide I'm going to operate 6 days a week and I'm gonna take Sundays off, but you end up working every Sunday, that's not good. That day off, you need that day off. Or if your hours are between, a great example is for our garage cleaning business, we're only available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. So people will call at 7:30 p.m. or any time during Sunday and I don't answer it. I could easily answer it just as easily as I do any other phone call, but I have boundaries. I've set rules. People can go to our website and see when we're operating. And if they call on Sunday, I'm not gonna answer. If they call at 7:01, I'm not gonna answer because I have boundaries set. And it's easy for me to follow that because I have all of these other things in my life, like family and, you know, my hobbies that I also wanna do. I don't wanna put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think another important thing to add is for every task in your business or for every task in your business, you can usually categorize that into either you are playing offense doing that or you're playing defense doing that. And the way that Jordan and I have split up responsibilities at Periwinkle is I play a lot of offense and some defense. Jordan plays a lot of defense and some offense, meaning he's handling all the phone calls, he's handling all the emails, he's handling all the communication. The busier we are, the busier he is, and that's not necessarily the same with me. Jordan's like our defensive player, and which is why boundaries are more important for you than they would be for me, I would say.
That makes sense.
Because you can't necessarily control the amount of work you're gonna have to do in a given day. So the days that we've been on like the local news or even we're starting to be on national television, our phone calls.
PBS, baby. Shouts to PBS for taking our show.
Our phone calls go up significantly. And Jordan can get sometimes like 12 Periwinkle calls in a day on top of his normal day job where he's also on the phone all the time. So like you can, what other examples do you have of like intentional boundaries you've set up in your life to try to cope with having a full-time job and a full-time side hustle business?
I mean, even with sometimes with like when you're hanging out with friends, like sometimes you and I will hang out and my wife will be like, okay guys, we're not talking about Periwinkle today. And like that's an example of a boundary because all we do when we're together sometimes it feels like is we talk about our business. Like we need to sometimes just hang out and talk about other things. Like, you know, the women in our life or women in mine and women in yours. I don't know how many women are in your life, but you know, things outside of just work all the time. Like how's your family? You know, you have to think of your life as a bunch of plants. Let's say they're lemon trees because I'm growing lemon trees. Okay. If you have one lemon tree that's your family, one lemon tree that's your hobbies, one that's your health, one that's your day job, and one that's your entrepreneurial startup, you can grow all of them at once slowly, or you can focus all your time and energy on 2 or 3, but then the other 2 are gonna wilt and die. So you have to kind of think of it like that, like the boundaries you put in place for yourself to protect yourself against your own harm that you can cause to your life, because a lot of successful people find themselves lonely at the top for a reason, because they cut literally every relationship, every friend, every family member. They never met anybody that they could open up to because all they cared about and all the time they spent was on their business, and I've got to make this work. I don't have enough time to do this. I mean,
all good points.
Yeah, set boundaries up not just for your business but for yourself, for your own life sake.
So how are you supposed to, like, at the end of the day, how are you supposed to come to terms with the fact that like you could end up, I mean, could you end up failing because you set too aggressive boundaries and you didn't do the work?
I think you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to make your business successful? Because I know people like the Tesla guy,
Elon Musk.
Doesn't he have like 2 failed marriages because of his workaholism?
Yeah, I know he has one for sure.
It's just like, it's one of those things, like me personally, I would never jeopardize my marriage for a business ever. I would never do it. That's a boundary that I have, but a lot of people would. And if you're willing to do that, I'm not harping on you. I think it's a terrible decision, but you know, like that's kind of the reality of it though. You know, like how far are you willing to take it? If you're willing to, you know, have fights with your spouse about it, that's at least a boundary. But if your line is, if she's starting to hate me, then that's where I draw the line. I'm gonna pull back on working all the time. It's a complicated subject matter because yes, your business could fail if you don't put every ounce of time that you have into your business. Yeah,
I mean, on the relationship stuff, I think it's important to communicate on the front end, like what kind of person you are.
Definitely.
Because if you're, I mean, I'm not saying this has anything to do with why Elon's marriages didn't work, and it's strange that we're even having this conversation, but I feel like
the lonely at the top conversation.
For me at least, I'm having to make sure I'm communicating to people that like I start relationships with that for whatever reason I feel like work's very important to me in my life right now, and like I don't want that to change necessarily. So there just needs to be a mutual like understanding of where we're coming from.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, it's boundaries. Whether doesn't matter where you draw your lines. Just make sure you have them out.
Yeah.
Have them in the sand.
Yeah, communication.
Have your lines out there. Live. Every man has to have a code. Every woman has to have a code. Live by it and make sure that it fits with how you want your life to look in 5 years, 10 years.
So do we have a takeaway for the audience on boundaries?
Yeah, the takeaway is you have to have boundaries.
Set them up.
Don't work all the time. Even if you want to work all the time, I would still advise that you set a boundary for yourself to have one day where you do things other than work. Or even if you work every day, have 2 hours every day where you do things other than work.
Yeah, I agree, because I think the quality of your, it's like training for a marathon or something and you just decide you're never going to stop running. You're just going to run 10 hours a day. It's the same logic, in my opinion, because you start to become not effective, you start to get in the habit, and it starts to become acceptable that you're not effective, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. There it is, guys. Hope you enjoyed the talk on boundaries.
So you can keep sitting there and watching another 10 hours of YouTube videos, or you can stop this video now, write out what the boundaries are gonna be in your life, and go freaking put it into practice.
Apply this. Apply this knowledge you've learned here today that we have learned from other people.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.